This is my GitLab repository. It contains the project. I'm gonna start by cloning the project. I'm gonna clone with SSH. Then I'm gonna come here to documents. So I'm just gonna say open in terminal. And I'm gonna type git clone. Then I'm gonna paste the URL of the project. Okay, it's done cloning. Then I'm gonna go to IntelliJ. Okay, so now I'm going to open the project. I'm going to say open. I'm going to go to documents. Then I'm going to go to the project and I'll select the folder. Okay, for now, let's look at the POM file. Okay, so it's currently resolving all of the dependencies and installing everything needed based on the POM file. So these are all of the dependencies that I need to run the application. So for now, I'm going to the main. I'm gonna go to the main file and then I'm gonna set up the SDK. But for now, let's just wait for the Maven dependencies to resolve first. So let's just wait. So it's likely that if all of them resolve, we won't have to set up the JDK since I already specified it in the POM file. But if it doesn't, we're going to set it up manually here. Okay, so let's just wait. There we go. Okay, just click somewhere else. Nice. Okay, we didn't have to set it up manually because on the POM file we already specified. So all we have to do is just run the main method. Okay, so let's wait for it to run the application. So it's just currently building. So it's gonna create all of the class files that are needed to run the application. So let's just give it a few seconds. It shouldn't take long. Okay, now the server is running. Let's just go to the URL. Okay, so this is the home page of the WeShare application. As you can see, it says that I'm not logged in and that I should enter my email. So I'm gonna enter student number 4's email, student number 4, and then I'm gonna log in with their email. So login. As you can see here, this is the dashboard. It has the navigation and it shows me my expenses. So currently I don't have any expenses, but I can add a new expense for student number 4. So I'm just gonna say groceries, and then I'm just gonna put today's date, which is 27 November 2025 at the time of recording this video. And then the amount, I'm going to put 850. Then I'm going to submit. And as you can see, now it shows me that I have a new expense, which is groceries, and the amount that I spent is 850. The payments that I requested for it currently is 0, and the payments that I received is also 0, and then the net expense is 850. So if we go into the groceries, we can see an even more detailed structure. As you can see, the date, the description, and the amount. And then as you scroll below, it shows me the email of the person that should pay me. So if there's someone that should pay me for this expense, I can put their email here. So we're gonna say student number 3, and then the amount that they should pay. So the maximum should be the amount that I spent for the grocery. So I'm just gonna say 700. And then when should they pay me? I'm just gonna say tomorrow. So it's 28 November, and then I'll submit. Now do you see it says that previous payment requests for this expense, as you can see, student number 3, the due date is tomorrow. Has it been paid yet? No. How much? 700. Then let's go back to expenses. We see now the amount that was spent is 850. The payments requested currently is 700. But if you like, we could add another payment request as well. So we could just go back here, but this time we're just gonna put student number 1. So I'm just gonna say student number 1. So how much should they pay us? Well, we're just gonna say 100. And then by when this must be settled, let's just say tomorrow as well, and submit. Now it shows 2 people. So the one for 700 and then the one for 100. And when you go back to expenses, now you see that the amount that was spent was 850. The payments requested are now 800. So the 700 and the 100. Have you received any payments yet? No. So currently we logged in as student number 4, and student number 4 has groceries as their expense, and they have made payment requests. So if you click here on payment request sent, you can see that student number 3 is 700, student number 1 is 100. So the total unpaid is currently 800. So let's try and pay this. So we're gonna log out as student number 4, and then we're gonna log in as student number 3. So log out, and then now we're gonna log in as student number 3. So student number 3 already has this expense, which is ice cream, and the amount that they spend is 50 rand. But now, since student number 3 has received a payment request, let's go and check the payment requests. You see that student number 4 has requested 700 for groceries. So that's the request that we made when we logged in as student number 3. So as student number 4. So now that we've logged in as student number 3, we can just pay student number 4. So I'm just gonna click pay. Okay. Now the total unpaid is 100. I could also pay this lunch. Okay. Now the total unpaid is 0. And then when we come back here to expenses, you see that now the amount that is spent is 700, and then the net expense is 700. So as soon as we pay, as soon as we pay student number 4 for groceries, we also incur that as an expense as well. So now our net expense is 700. Now let's go back to student number 4 and check what has happened, because right now student number 3, we have paid student number 4. So let's check if student number 4 has indeed received the payment. So now I'm gonna log out student number 3 and log in student number 4. So I've logged in. So do you see here that the payments received currently is 700, and then the net expense is 150. Why is the net expense 150? Because 850 minus 700 is equals to 150. So the actual net expense for us is 150, because the other 700 we have received it. Okay, and then I can just try to log in as student number 1 as well, because as we go, when we check here, student number 1 also has to pay us 100. So I'm gonna log in as student number 1 as well. I'm gonna log out student number 4 and log in as student number 1. When I log in as student number 1 and then I check the payment request received, as you can see, student number 4 for 100. So the total unpaid is 100. So let's just pay. There, we have paid. Now the total unpaid is 0. So let's log out. Oh, before we log out, let's check the expenses. You see now, groceries, amount spent is 100. So let's log out as student number 1. Now let's log in back as student number 4. Now the net expense is 50 Rand. Why is it 50 Rand? Because the 700 and the 100 has been paid. So the remainder of 700 and 100, when you minus it from 850, we get 50 Rand. So let's go to the code base. This is the code base. So this is the web server, and then we can just look at the templates. These are the templates to add a new expense. As you can see here, I use a pattern, what kind of a pattern is allowed. And then for the expenses table, so here this section will appear if there are no new expenses. But if there are expenses, then this is what will appear. And then this is the table, and then it will show you the expense amount and then plus the expense.id. So each table element, each tag is going to be identified by the expense ID, which is going to be generated on the back end. So these are the templates, just to name a few. So yeah, we have seen now that we can work with groceries. We can create a new expense, send a payment request for it, and actually pay it. Okay, so I think I've covered most of the features, all of the features that are required on the WeShare application. So thank you for taking your time to watch my application. I'd appreciate that. Goodbye.